This is Colonel William Bonelli. He is a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was at Hickam Field, an Army Air Corps base, on December 7th, 1941, when the Japanese attacked the American naval base at Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Good morning, Colonel. Thank you. What do you remember most about the attack?
What do I remember most?
Most, yes. What?
Oh, several things. Unbelievable. As a matter of fact, I was entering the gate, coming into Pearl Harbor from Wheeler Field, and saw 3 Japanese aircraft flying overhead. And I said to my friend, I said, I wonder who those airplanes belong to. You know, we might be at war, jokingly. Yes, indeed. And about 2 or 3 minutes more, there we are. The attack had just begun, as I see it. And we entered the gates, and I went to the orderly room, and our adjutant was there, and I asked him, what shall we do? And he says, be damned if I know. So that meant that I was free to roam. After all, it was Sunday. So how far do you want me to go with
no, that's good. Did you realize they were Japanese planes right away?
No, not right away.
Yeah, a lot of people said at first they thought it was some kind of military exercise. Did you think? I mean, there had been planes coming over Pearl Harbor on exercises before, but what really did you see the bombs start to drop and everything?
Oh yeah. Well, I could see them hitting mainly the ships in. Hickam Field is adjacent to Pearl Harbor itself, and the Fort Island in the middle of and I can see the aircraft dive bombing, and so I decided to go to the big barracks to the left, to the west, and that was a very foolish thing on my part, and I started across, and and that was my mistake. The Japanese aircraft wasn't after me, but although he fired at me, I just happened to run in front of his guns, and then I learned later that they were trying to torpedo the big barracks. It was quite a big barracks, and so. But anyhow, I ran back to the organization, and a line began to form at the supply part of the barracks, and the sergeant says rank, name, and serial number, and then another airplane rat-a-tat-tat right through us, and I didn't get hit, but a couple of guys got wounded, and nobody got killed. But anyhow, the supply sergeant says, come and get them.
What were you thinking at the time? I mean, you'd been at peace a few minutes before, and suddenly you were right in the middle of our first battle of World War II.
Well, actually, you might say it took a little more time than it was just trying to protect myself and find out what I could do to help. And I stood guard for after it was over, I stood guard at the hospital. They were digging a trench, and that's the one that really got my stomach, was the fact that they were cutting this trench to throw the body parts in, and that really got to me, so to speak.
You were 20 years old at the time?
That's right.
Yeah, you were an aircraft mechanic.
Yes.
I mean, had you enlisted? Well, you would have enlisted in the Army then, Army Air Corps, or were you drafted, or?
May I say this? Mm-hmm. Back in 1940, I walked into the recruiting office, and I said to the sergeant in there, I said, I'll join up if you can get me next to aircraft. And so after about an hour, he says, They're checking all around. I can't get you any place in the States, but I can get you in Hawaii. I said, I'll take it. And now I want to make this point. I have come, I think it just dawned on me this morning, full circle. I came from Indiana, PA, that's where I was born, about a block from Jimmy Stewart. And I came here and officially signed up here in Harrisburg.
Huh.
Can you imagine that?
Well, that's something. Now, after the attack, you ended up becoming an officer and a bomber pilot.
That's right.
You flew B-17s and missions over Europe, over Nazi Germany.
That's right.
Is that what you were doing when the war ended?
That's right. After Pearl Harbor, if I may say, I ended up in Fiji Islands down under near Australia. And I had given up hope of ever getting to go to confined cadets. As a matter of fact, I took as a fact that I would never see the mainland again. But if it wasn't for that flag, red, white, and blue,
But
kept me from going nuts, let's put it that way. And but things changed. I managed to end up on a Dutch boat, Boschfontein, on my way back to the States, 20 days to Los Angeles to go to flying cadets.
Oh, that's great.
I had to say that.
Huh. What do you think about the Pearl Harbor attack much these days?
Yes, more so than I did before. I sort of gave up when I came back from Europe in 1945. I sort of divorced myself. Thank you, Billy. I sort of divorced myself from the military. I retired in 1960 from the Air Force. And then I went with the Federal Aviation Agency, it was Civil Aeronautics Authority, and had a real good job flight checking navigational commissioning and flight checking navigational aids.
How did the war change your life? I mean,
Quite a bit. If you look back at the 1930s, there was quite a depression. And trying to get a job was a hard thing to do. And so that's why another reason for entering the military. And the fact that I was able to become a commissioned officer and retired as a lieutenant colonel. If it hadn't been for all of that, I would not have been able to accomplish what I did.
Great.